everyone, my name is Rosalind Walker, and for my video project, I will be analyzing the film Secret Sunshine, which we had the experience of watching together in class. This may be the psych major in me talking, but I chose this topic because I enjoy watching movies and analyzing their message and deeper meaning, and this specific drama explores themes of grief, religion, and mental health, which is right up my alley. The story follows Shinee, who moves to a small town called Mirang after the death of her husband. We learned that Mirang was her husband's hometown, and in order for her to feel closer to him and get a fresh start, she decided to move there. During the move, she befriends a local mechanic, Jongchan, who attempts to support her as she tries to rebuild her life. However, most of his attempts are rejected, and as a result, he ends up kind of just standing by her most of the movie quietly. We're also introduced to a couple that works at a pharmacy in town. The couple knows that Shinee's husband passed away and suggests that she convert to Christianity, but Shinee declines, saying that she does not have a religion or doesn't believe in God. The movie takes an abrupt turn when her son is kidnapped and murdered. Devastated by the loss, Shinee spirals into despair and eventually turns to Christianity, finding temporary comfort in community and religion, and for a while, the faith seems to help her cope. However, her fragile recovery collapses after she visits the murderer of her son and learns that he has already found peace in prison through religion and has been forgiven by God. Shinee becomes enraged that someone who destroyed her life could achieve spiritual comfort before she can. This confrontation triggers a deep emotional and existential crisis. The remainder of the film follows Shinee's struggle with anger, loneliness, identity, and healing, and it ends abruptly with no redemption or closure for her grief or suffering. Rather than offering direct answers, the movie explores how people endure unbearable tragedies in search for meaning afterwards. Overall, the message I got from Secret Sunshine is that grieving does not always lead to healing, and faith does not always provide answers or comfort when one is grieving. I found that the film explores these messages through multiple intertwined themes. The first one depicts the limits of religion. A major part of the film examines conversion to Christianity as a response to grief. Shinee initially finds comfort in faith, but later she discovers that religious forgiveness can feel empty or even cruel, as it seems to bypass her without actually giving her answers on how to heal. Through these religious limitations, the film questions whether any belief system can adequately address unbearable loss. The next theme explores the complexity of forgiveness. One of the film's most famous scenes centers on forgiveness. Shinee expects forgiveness to be something she can control, but she finds out that her son's murderer has already claimed forgiveness through Christianity. With this, the film suggests that religion is subjective, as it can be skewed and interpreted differently to favor one's personal morals or beliefs. This arises questions like who has the right to be forgiven and who should be forgiven, and leaves these to be interpreted by individuals rather than religion itself. The last theme is loneliness. Throughout the film, Shinee struggles to connect with others due to her mental health. We watch as she sets mental barriers and pushes people like Jongchan away, because even people who genuinely care about her cannot fully share or understand her suffering. And with this, we learn how isolating grief can be for somebody. From my perspective as a psychology major, I think that this movie does an excellent job of showcasing how grief may present itself in people through many emotions and behaviors. From a psychological standpoint, these emotions and struggles are things that cannot be easily masked by faith alone. And of course, while religion can provide a community and expressive outlet for those dealing with grief, sometimes it does not give the closure people need to move forward with healing. With this view, the film rejects many religious narratives, such as faith will heal you, forgiveness is peace, and everything happens for a reason, and it portrays grief as a more messy, contradictory, and less straightforward process. I think that this depiction is necessary process of grief that needs to be recognized because there are no direct answers or solutions to dealing with the loss of a loved one. And religion shouldn't push forgiveness, faith, and reason onto other people's pain. Overall, human beings desperately seek meaning after tragedy, but some wounds cannot be explained away. What remains is the challenge of continuing to live despite that uncertainty. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the role of Confucianism in Secret Sunshine. In David's Issues in Modern Korea class, we learned that Confucianism is a philosophical system that focuses on human life and moral behavior in the present rather than spiritual concerns. It also emphasizes fulfilling one's duties and responsibilities within society and values outward conduct, proper behavior, and how one presents themselves more than personal feelings and emotions. In the movie, I noticed how these ideals influenced Shanae and some of the other characters. For instance, Shanae presents herself to the public as composed and mentally stable, but alone we watch her silently struggle to process the loss of her husband while also still taking care of her child. And we see it again when she converts to Christianity after she loses her son. Rather than opening up about her struggles to the church group, she pretends as if faith magically healed her. I think that part of the reason Shanae may not have opened up is because of the pressure to maintain her image and her role as a mother. If she had expressed her emotions, people might have labeled her as mentally unwell, which could have possibly tainted her societal status and reflected back on her family. Therefore, she chose to keep things to herself until she couldn't anymore. That's all for my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I can't wait to hear all of yours.